Is the United States a Christian nation? Let's examine facts. The United States historically, a nation of contradictions, the illusion of a Christian state. Friends, we gather today not to indict a faith, but to confront the national narrative, the persistent, manufactured identity of the United States as a fundamentally Christian nation. This identity is a profound historical contradiction. Look at the facts, the cruel, undeniable events that speak louder than any pious declaration. The United States was founded not on the Sermon on the Mount, but on a contradiction of profound evil. 20 historical contradictions. Slavery. For over 200 years, the nation enshrined the brutal enslavement of African people. 3/5 clause. The Constitution codified that enslaved people were only 3/5 of a person. Indigenous genocide. The foundational policy of Manifest Destiny sanctioned the systematic extermination and displacement of Native Americans. Trail of Tears. The forced relocation of thousands of indigenous people resulting in thousands of deaths. Jim Crow laws. Decades of state-sanctioned racial segregation and terrorism. Black codes. Laws designed to restrict the freedom of Black Americans after the Civil War. Sundown towns. Thousands of American towns explicitly forbade non-white residents after dark. Redlining. Federal housing policies that systematically segregated and economically starved Black communities. Gerrymandering. The political engineering of districts to dilute minority voting power. Police brutality. A pervasive historical tactic used to enforce racial hierarchy and control. White nationalism's rise. The persistent and violent elevation of racial supremacy under a claimed Christian banner. Assassinations. The assassinations of 4 presidents, including Abraham Lincoln, James A. Garfield, William McKinley, and John F. Kennedy. War on drugs tactics. Aggressive, disproportionate sentencing that resulted in mass incarceration, overwhelming Black and brown communities. Invasion of Panama, 1989, an act of military interventionism that caused widespread civilian casualties. Continuous military intervention, a pattern of colonizing and destabilizing nations worldwide, often for economic gain. Gaslighting diplomacy, the manipulation of global agreements and the bullying of weaker nations. Freemasonry influence. Multiple founding fathers, including George Washington, were members of Masonic lodges reflecting Enlightenment philosophy, not solely Christian doctrine. Treaty of Tripoli, 1797, explicitly states, "The government of the United States of America is not, in any sense, founded on the Christian religion." Broken treaties. The continuous breaking of agreements with Native American tribes, proving a failure of moral integrity. Financial exploitation. The predatory practices of a higher education and banking system that financially imprisons millions of citizens with insurmountable debt. The nation's operations from its executive, legislative, and judicial branches to its historical failures on reparations demonstrate a profound incapacity to live by foundational Christian tenets of justice, mercy, and truth. When the nation's highest political and corporate operations prioritize wealth, power, and racial stratification over human dignity, it sheds the very notion of a Christian identity. The United States, in its policies and actions, is a nation built on secular political philosophy and economic expansionism, not on the selfless teachings of Christ. To call it a Christian nation is to desecrate history and ignore the cries of the oppressed.